All right, UPSC folks, back for more. Buckle up, because it's day 2 of our deep dive into the current affairs you need to know, straight from January 24th, 2025.
And we're not rehashing yesterday's news. No, sir. Fresh batch, all relevant, all for you.
So hit that like and subscribe, keep those brains sharp, and let's get into it. With me again, our expert who can, well, he can make sense of it all, really connect the dots in the news.
Happy to be back. Today's mix is really prime UPSC material. You know, that blend of economic, social policies, a bit of global happenings, even a dash of culture and tech. You'll see.
I'm intrigued. Let's go. First up, a story that honestly kind of warms the heart. It's about a government scheme, the Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, and over 4.1 crore accounts, that's a huge EE number, have been opened. But it's more than just numbers, right? We're hearing about villages where every eligible girl now has an account.
Yeah, that's what makes it powerful. This isn't just some policy on paper. It's changing lives on the ground. The goal is straightforward. Secure the future for Indian girls. Education, marriage expenses, it's like a safety net built with their well-being in mind.
So it's going beyond just saving money. It's giving these girls a real chance.
You got it. And tying it back to the bigger picture, think Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. This scheme is proof that government initiatives can work, have a real impact. That's the kind of analysis UPSC loves.
Makes sense. So for those who need a quick reminder, how's the scheme work? Who can use it? What are the main points?
Easy peasy. Parents or guardians can open an account for girls under 10, go to a post office or certain banks. Flexibility is key here. The minimum deposit is just $250, so anyone can join, but you can go up to 1.5 lakh per year.
And the interest, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Oh yeah, 8.2% currently. Way better than your average savings account. Account matures after 21 years, but there's a catch. You can pull out 50% when she hits 18 for higher education. Early closure if she marries after 18 too.
Built-in life events, smart. Now for our UPSC crew, think about this. The scheme's great, but how does it compare to other programs for girls' education, for their empowerment? Any downsides, any challenges to make it even better?
Excellent questions. That's what the exam's all about. Digging deeper, not just knowing the facts, but seeing the impacts, the complexities.
Okay, gear shift. Let's talk global trade. Big principle. Most favored nation, or MFN. You'd think with all these trade deals popping up, the MFN would be old news, right? Right. But surprise, not quite.
You're sharp. WTO says over 80% of global trade still runs on MFN principles. It's about stability, predictability, the foundation of good trade.
Okay, remind me, MFN in action, what's that look like?
Simple. Everyone's equal. No playing favorites among trading partners. Level playing field, fairness, that's the aim. And it's written right into Article 1 of the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. JTT, the backbone of global trade rules.
JT, yep, UPSC folks, gotta know that one. But JT, here's the tricky part. It's all about equal treatment. What about all those regional agreements? RKAs, PTAs, they give special treatment to certain countries. Isn't that, well, breaking the rules?
Seems that way, right? But those agreements, they're like exceptions to the MFN rule. Think of it like this. MFN is the default, the basic fairness level. But countries can make specific deals to boost their ties, regional teamwork.
So the basic rule is there, but you can override it in certain cases? Got an example of that?
Sure. Take the CPTPP, the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's 11 countries around the Pacific, lower tariffs, special perks just for them. They still follow MFN for everyone else, but within their group, it's next-level cooperation.
Okay, so UPSC folks, know the rule, A&D the exceptions, because exam questions could be on either. Tricky.
And even trickier, they might ask you to analyze those regional deals. Do they help or hurt global trade? Create chances or divide us more? UPSC loves making you think.
All right, let's bring it home. India's digital economy, it's booming. Predictions say bigger than agriculture, A&D, manufacturing combined by 2030.
That's a headline-grabbing prediction, comes from the Estimation and Measurement of India's Digital Economy report. Big deal here. India is the first developing nation using that OECD framework to figure this out. Adds weight to the findings, makes it comparable globally.
So it's not just about how big it is. It's about how we measure it, how seriously we're taking it.
Exactly. And it's looking at the whole picture, not just your typical tech companies, e-commerce. It's factoring in traditional sectors going digital, banking, finance, even agriculture changing.
So it's the digital effect on everything. What's the report saying about this contribution, this growth?
Well, 2022-23, digital was already 11.74% of India's income. By 2024-25, they're saying 13.42%. The report even points out what's driving this. Industries going digital, new digital businesses popping up, and the government pushing for everyone to be part of it.
Sounds great, but UPSC minds want to know what kind of questions come out of this.
Think about policies. This digital boom, what does it mean for the government? What challenges pop up? How do they support this growth but also keep it under control? Data privacy, cybersecurity, those become huge GE topics.
So it's not just celebrating the growth, it's about the messy side too. Okay, on to some good news. The National Health Mission, NHM, it's getting an extension. But before we celebrate, let's do a quick recap. What is the NHM all about?
Okay, so way back in 2013, the NHM launched with a massive goal. Healthcare for everyone in India, fair, affordable, and high quality. It merged the rural and urban health missions into one giant program, everyone covered.
Right, nationwide effort to make healthcare better. What are the big parts, the focus areas?
Oh, it covers a lot. Big emphasis on vulnerable folks. RMNCH plus A, that's reproductive, maternal, newborn, child, and adolescent health. Programs like Janani Suraksha Yojana and Janani Shishu Suraksha Karyakram, all about lowering those maternal and infant mortality rates.
So it's not just treating sickness, it's about keeping people healthy, especially moms and kids.
You got it. And then there's communicable diseases. Tuberculosis, malaria, leprosy, HIV/AIDS. They have national programs for each, like the revised National Tuberculosis Control Program, RNTCP, and the National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program, NVBDCP.
And what about those chronic diseases, the non-communicable ones? They're a big problem now too, right?
Oh, absolutely. The NHM has programs for those too. Screening and management for diabetes, hypertension, and cancer under the National Program for Prevention and Control of Cancer, Diabetes, Cardiovascular Diseases, and Stroke, NPCDCS. But it goes beyond just specific diseases. Strengthening the health system as a whole is a big part of it. Better infrastructure, training healthcare workers, and a vital role played by ASHAs, the accredited social health activists. They're like the bridge between the community and the health system.
Wow. Sounds like the NHM covers everything but the kitchen sink. How does it actually work on the ground across such a diverse country?
Well, the state governments are the main players, but they get money and support from the central government. Usually a 60.40 split in funding, but for our friends in the Northeast, including Sikkim, it's 90.0.
Okay, so we've got the structure. Now this extension, why is it such big news? What's the NHM actually achieved and what does it mean for the future?
The NHM has a pretty amazing track record. Look at the maternal mortality rate, down by a whopping 83% since 1990. Now it's 97 per lakh live births. 2018-20 data. That beats the global average decline, which is only 45%. Same story with the under 5 mortality rate, down by a massive 75% since 1990, standing at 32 per 1,000 live birth in 2020. That's way better than the global reduction of 60%.
Those numbers are incredible. It really shows how the NHM is making a difference, saving lives, improving health, particularly for mothers and children.
For sure. And it's not just about the big numbers. The NHM has made serious progress in controlling and even eliminating some diseases. We hit those Kala-Azar elimination targets and achieved 97.98% coverage with the measles rubella vaccination campaign.
So this extension means those efforts can continue and hopefully we'll see even more progress.
Exactly. But UPSC folks, listen up. Don't just focus on the good stuff. You need to go deeper. What are the challenges the NHM still faces? What needs to change to meet the evolving health needs of the population? What are the policy implications of this extension for India's healthcare system as a whole? These are the tough questions you might see on the exam.
Great points. Wow, part one, and we've covered a lot. From helping girls to global trade rules to a massive healthcare program.
And we're just getting warmed up. Hold tight. In part two, we're hitting you with a rapid-fire round of news, just as important for the UPSC exam.
So grab your notes, make sure you're subscribed, and we'll be right back. Okay, rapid fire round time. Short news, big impact. Got to be on your toes for this one. Starting off, we got news from the Central Board of Direct Taxes, that's CBDT. They've released some new guidelines, something called the Principal Purpose Test, part of India's Double Taxation Avoidance Agreements. Whoa, mouthful, but why should our listeners care?
Well, it's all about India getting serious about tax avoidance playing on that global stage. The Principal Purpose Test, or PPT, it's like a tool to stop companies from using tax treaties to basically avoid paying taxes in India. These guidelines show how India is going to use this test, important because India is part of the BEPS project, that's base erosion and profit shifting, led by the OECD. Big deal internationally.
Right, BEPS, that's the worldwide effort to stop those big companies from hiding their profits in those, what are they called, tax havens, those places with super low taxes. So this new CBDT thing, It's part of that bigger picture.
Exactly. BEPS Action 6, specifically, that's about preventing treaty abuse. PPT is a way to make sure those tax treaties are used the right way to avoid double taxation, not for sneaky tax maneuvers.
Closing loopholes. Fair play. I like it.
Well, okay.
Okay, next up, from global taxes to something a bit more, well, Indian. Ministry of Commerce and Industry has set a goal, get this, 10,000 geographical indications, GI tags, registered by 2030. Ambitious. What's the big deal about these GI tags anyway?
They're all about celebrating what makes India unique, those special products, those traditions. A GI tag, it's like a stamp of authenticity. It says, this product, it's special because it comes from this place, has qualities you won't find anywhere else.
Like Darjeeling tea. Right. It's famous because it can only come from those hills. The taste, the aroma, it's unique.
Perfect example. Now think about all the amazing Indian products that deserve that kind of protection. Alfonso mangoes, Mysore silk, even Hyderabadi biryani. GI tags, they preserve heritage, but they also create jobs, boost India's image globally.
So good for the makers, good for the buyers, good for India. Everyone wins. All right, switching gears now, a story where tech meets national security. Some chatter about a framework for AI diffusion and how it might affect India's access to GPUs.
This is a big one. It's about that tension between pushing technology forward and, keeping things safe. This framework, it started in the US. It's meant to control who gets their hands on advanced AI tech, including those powerful GPUs that are used to train AI.
So they want to promote AI, but also they're kind of scared of it getting into the wrong hands.
Yeah, it's a tough balance. And for India, they're really pushing the digital economy, investing in AI research. If they can't get these essential parts, it could slow them down. Shows how important it is to be self-reliant, have strong partnerships in this global tech world.
You can't escape geopolitics, even in tech. All right, more local news now. The state of Kerala has launched a new system, Kawachem. What's that all about?
Kawachem, that's Kerala Warnings, Crisis, and Hazard Management System. It's their high-tech solution to get better at dealing with disasters, a good example of using tech to keep people safe.
So Kerala gets hit with those floods, landslides, right? Is this like an early warning system for those?
Yeah, you got it. It's a whole network of sirens, strobe lights, emergency centers connected online, software to make decisions, a huge data center, all working together to spot hazards, send out alerts in real time, and coordinate action.
Kerala's not messing around. That's some serious prep work. Okay, from state level to global teamwork, news is India's joined the Eurodrone program as an observer. Eurodrone, what is that and what does this mean for India?
Eurodrone, that's a team effort. Germany, France, Italy, Spain, all working to build this next-level drone, a male UAV, medium altitude, long endurance, fancy name. These drones, they can do a lot. Intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance.
Basically high-tech spy planes, but no pilot needed.
Pretty much. India being an observer, it's strategic. They can check out the tech, see what it can do, maybe work together with them later on, build some together, that kind of thing.
Smart move, dip their toes in, see if it's worth it for India's defense.
Oh, okay, time for some culture now. News is the king of the Menon community will be at the Republic Day parade.
This is India showing off its diversity, celebrating its traditions. The Manons, they're a tribal group, mostly in Kerala's Idukki district. Having their king in the parade, it's honoring their culture, their place in India. That unity and diversity, always a good reminder. All right, turning global again, issue we can't ignore. The UN has declared 2025 the International Year of Glaciers Preservation. Big deal, but why?
Those glaciers are melting fast. Climate change is hitting hard. It's not just pretty scenery. Glaciers keep our climate in check, provide fresh water for billions.
So if they disappear, it's going to mess things up, not just for the environment, but for people, for economies.
Exactly. This declaration, it's a wake-up call for everyone. Governments, organizations, even individuals got to step up, fight climate change, protect these vital ecosystems.
The clock's ticking, that's for sure. Okay, another debate heating up, the issue of fluoride in our drinking water.
Yeah, this one's about finding the right balance, benefits versus risks. Fluoride, it's really good at preventing cavities, keeps those teeth healthy. That's why it's added to water in a lot of places.
So that's good, right?
Yeah.
Especially where people might not have easy access to dentists.
Right, good point.
Yeah.
But too much fluoride and you get fluorosis. That's when teeth get discolored, stained. Kids are especially vulnerable. Their teeth are still growing.
So got to get that dose right. Enough to help, not enough to hurt.
Exactly. The Bureau of Indian Standards, they recommend a limit, 1 milligram per liter. But the perfect amount can change depending on where you live, what you eat, things like that.
Moderation, key in everything. Okay, news that'll matter to our farmers. Cabinet's increased the minimum support price MSP, for raw jute. Big deal for whom?
This affects a lot of people. Jute, it's a cash crop, golden fiber, they call it, important West Bengal, Assam, those areas. MSP, that's the price the government promises to pay for a certain amount of the crop, helps the farmers make sure they don't get hit too hard by market ups and downs.
So higher MSP for jute means more support for the farmers, keep that production going.
Exactly. It's a sign from the government saying they're behind the jute industry. Good for the economy, good for the environment too. Jute's biodegradable.
Makes sense. Okay, last item in a rapid-fire round, and it's a bit of a reality check. The Keeling curve, it's been tracking carbon dioxide in the atmosphere since the late 50s. Well, it's hit a record high. Explain that. Why should we be worried?
The Keeling curve, it's like a graph showing us how much we're messing up the planet. That CO2, it's going up and up, mostly from burning fossil fuels. That's what's causing climate change, those rising temperatures, those crazy weather events.
So this record high, it's like a giant warning sign saying we need to cut back on those emissions, find a better way to live.
Exactly. The Keeling curve, it's a constant reminder. Climate change isn't some future problem, it's happening NW, and we gotta act NW.
All right, that was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
We covered taxes, glaciers, the air we breathe, even threw in some good news for girls and farmers. What a ride.
It's a taste of what the UPSC exam is like, that wide range of topics that need to connect the dots to think critically.
Speaking of which, big announcement for all those future civil servants out there. You ready for this? Big news. The UPSC CSE 2025 notification, it's here. The race has officially begun for all you aspiring civil servants.
Time to kick those preparations into high gear. No more excuses.
Head over to upsc.gov.in, like right now. All the info's there, exam dates, syllabus, who can apply, everything you need to know.
Remember, the UPSC CSE, it's not just about memorizing facts. You've got to understand the why, see the connections, think critically.
And that's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive. We break down the news, analyze it, make it make sense, so you're not just informed, you're ready to tackle those tough exam questions.
Today, we've been all over the place, in a good way. We saw how that Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana is helping girls across India, got into the nitty-gritty of that most favored nation principle, and explored the potential of India's digital economy.
Oh, and we dug into the wins and challenges of the National Health Mission, saw how Carol is using tech to prepare for disasters with Coasham. Even talked about that cultural touch, the man in community's king, being in the Republic Day Parade.
And that rapid-fire round, whew! From international tax avoidance to the future as glaciers, and of course, that CO2 level hitting a new high. Lots to think about.
It's a lot to keep up with, but that's current affairs for you. Always changing. You gotta stay ahead if you want to crack the UPSC.
Before we sign off, I want to leave you with something to chew on, something that builds on what we talked about. Remember the UN declaring 2025 the International Year of Glaciers Preservation. Think about this. What does it mean for geopolitics, all those melting glaciers? How will it affect relations between countries, those shared water resources? Could it even lead to conflicts down the line?
Now that's a thought-provoking question. Shows how environmental issues can become political, security risks, something for all those UPSC minds to ponder.
It's all connected. Being able to see those connections, analyze things from different angles, think about the long-term impact, that's what makes a successful UPSC candidate.
Couldn't agree more. To all our UPSC aspirants out there, keep learning, keep questioning, keep digging deeper.
We'll be here to help you along the way. Join us again tomorrow for another deep dive into the news, all geared towards your UPSC journey.
And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of our daily insights. Good luck with your prep. See you next time.